You ever notice how some people keep saying they're trying their best, but their life still looks exactly the same year after year after year? The same excuses, the same habits, the same conversations, the same problems, the same dreams, collecting dust like gym equipment people bought in January. Meanwhile, somebody else, they have less talent, less money, less support, and less luck. And somehow they keep leveling up. And that's part nobody wants to talk about. Winning is not just about talent. It's not even mostly about talent. Winning is about what you do consistently. When nobody's clapping for you, when nobody believes in you, and when your own brain is trying to convince you to quit because comfort feels safer than the growth. But most people are not losing because life is unfair. And that's not it. They're losing because they're distracted, they're emotionally exhausted, addicted to comfort, terrified of looking stupid, and constantly negotiating with themselves each and single every day. And the scary part is that they don't even realize it's happening. They think motivation is the missing piece, and it's not. Motivation is temporary, and discipline is what changes your life. And the problem is, discipline feels boring. People want transformation to feel exciting. They want the cinematic music in the background while they become successful overnight. But the real improvements, it looks way uglier than that. It looks repetitive. It looks lonely. It looks like waking up early while everyone else sleeps in. It looks like studying while others people, scroll TikTok for 4 hours straight, watching strangers organize their refrigerator. Winning is usually hidden inside things that feel inconvenient, and that's why most people never get there. They only move when they feel inspired, and winners, they move even when they feel tired, annoyed, frustrated, broke, or even uncertain, or even emotionally drained. You know, your feelings are unreliable. If your life only moves forward when you feel good, you're going to stay stuck for a very long time. And a lot of people also secretly sabotage themselves because deep down they're scared of responsibility. And everybody says they want success until success starts demanding sacrifices. And suddenly people just disappear. They say things like, I just need balance. No, you don't need balance. No, you do need balance. Balance is what people say when they want comfort without consequences. And every level of success requires some form of temporary imbalance. Athletes, they train when their body hurts. Entrepreneurs, they work while their friends party. And creators upload videos nobody watches for months. And maybe I'm talking about me. But before momentum finally hits, the internet only shows the highlight reel. It never shows the boring years where nobody cared. Everybody wants chapter 20 results while still behaving like chapter 1 people. And that's not how this works. Another reason you haven't won yet is because you keep waiting for permission. You wait for the perfect moment and the perfect plan and the perfect mindset and the perfect opportunity and the perfect moment of confidence. And none of that is coming. Confidence is built after action, not before it. Nobody feels fully ready. And the difference is successful people act anyways. And most people spend their entire life preparing to start instead of actually starting. They research, they overthink, make vision boards, watch podcasts, buy courses, and convince themselves they're making progress because they've consumed information. Consuming information is not the same thing as applying it. You can watch 100 motivational videos, which you should, and they should all be mine, and still stay broke if you never execute. Knowledge without action becomes entertainment, and entertainment is disguised as productivity. It's one of the biggest traps in modern life. And people feel productive because they listen to a podcast while laying in bed eating cereal at 2 p.m. And that's not productivity. That's intellectual cosplay. And another brutal truth is probably waste more energy complaining than improving. Complaining feels productive because it creates emotional release, but it changes the absolutely nothing in your world. The world does not reward people for having understandable excuses. There are millions of people with valid reasons to quit, Some still win anyways, and that's the uncomfortable part. Your struggles may explain your situation, but they do not automatically improve it. You still have to do the work, you still have to make the decisions, you still have to take responsibility. And responsibility scares people because the moment you fully accept responsibility, you lose the ability to blame everyone else. And blaming people feels easier. It protects the ego. It allows you to stay the victim instead of becoming accountable. But victims wait for rescue and winners build solutions. Another thing holding people back is the constant distraction. Attention is the new currency. If you can't focus, you can't build anything meaningful. Modern life is designed to keep your brain overstimulated every second. Notifications, shorts videos, endless options, fake drama, doom scrolling, and algorithm addictions have destroyed people's ability to sit still long enough to master anything. And most people can't even watch a 2-minute video without checking their phone 3 times. Then they wonder why they can't achieve deep results. You can't create a powerful life with a distraction mind. Every major achievement, it requires the focused effort over time. But people keep interrupting their own progress because they're addicted to novelty. The moment something becomes difficult and repetitive, they abandon it and chase something new. And that's why they stay average. Mastery is boring before it comes impressive. Another reason you haven't won yet is because you're too concerned about other people's opinions. Fear of judgment destroys more dreams than failure ever will. People are terrified of looking stupid online, looking inexperienced, looking awkward, looking imperfect. Meanwhile, the people actually succeeding are too busy working to care. Nobody starts great. Every skilled person was once embarrassed really bad. The difference is they survived being bad long enough because to become good at it. But most people, they quit during the awkward stage because their ego cannot tolerate temporary incompetence. They want immediate validation. But growth requires humility, and you have to be willing to suck at something before you improve at it. And that's the price. Another problem is people romanticizing talent and underestimated competition or repetition. They see someone successful and assume they were naturally gifted. What they don't see is the thousands of repetitions, behind the scenes, the late nights, the failures, the embarrassing attempts. I got videos that nobody's even watched. The consistency nobody celebrated. Repetition builds the skill. Skill builds confidence, and confidence creates the momentum. Momentum creates results. But most people, they quit before the momentum arrives because the beginning feels invisible. Nobody claps for the early stages. Nobody notices your first 100 workouts, your first terrible videos, your first failed business attempts, or your first months learning a new skill. That feels lonely too, but that lonely phase is where winners are built. Another brutal reason people don't win is because they refuse to delay gratification. They choose temporary pleasures over long-term progress. Every single day, fast food instead of, health, entertainment instead of education, comfort instead of challenge, and excuse instead of discipline. Then years later, they act shocked when their life reflects those choices. You daily habits eventually become your identity, and small decisions repeated consistently shape your future more than giant emotional wins will. And most people destroy their future slowly and quietly through tiny habits that seem harmless in the moment. Success is not usually one giant breakthrough. It's small disciplined actions repeated together longer, and then other people are willing to repeat them. And and let's talk about consistency because everybody loves the idea of consistency until life gets inconvenient too. Consistency, means continuing even when progress feels invisible. It means showing up when motivation disappears. It means continuing after rejection, the criticism, the failure, embarrassment, or slow results. I get negative comments on all my pages all the time. I have over 6 YouTube pages, and this one, and I get negative comments all the time. People are so rude. And most people are emotionally sprinters. I mean, they go hard for 3 days when they disappear for 3 weeks. Winners are different. They move steadily. They understand that sustainable progress beats random bursts, a motivation every single time. Another thing nobody tells you is winning often requires becoming a different version of yourself. You cannot keep the exact same mindset, the habits, the environment, and behavior while expecting a completely different life. Transformation requires identity change. If you still think like the person you used to be, you'll continue making the same decisions that created your current reality. And sometimes the biggest obstacle is not the lack of opportunity, it's the attachment to an outdated version of yourself. People cling to old habits because familiarity feels safe, even when it's destroying them. Growth feels uncomfortable because it forces you into uncertainty, but comforts are expensive. They cost people years of potential. Another hidden reason people don't win is because they surround themselves with negativity. Environment matters more than people admit. If everybody around you normalizes laziness, excuses, complaining, and mediocrity, eventually your standards shrink without you realizing it. Human beings adapt to their environment, and that's why successful people protect their energy so aggressively. They understand that the constant negativity drains momentum, and you become that what you repeatedly expose yourself to. If your inner circle laughs at ambition, mocks discipline, and celebrates dysfunction, staying focused becomes nearly impossible. I had that in my life. I was dating somebody like that just recently. I had to cut the dead weight off. Somebody that never wants to improve their life and wants to be living on a shameless lifestyle. And they think that that's fun and how life should live. Meanwhile, that was dragging me down. I had to cut that out of my life. It was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. I truly cared about that person. But that person didn't want to grow and then just wanted to make excuses for their actions. They wanted to, you know, instead of stepping up to the plate and changing and being a better person, they wanted to just live in misery their whole life. And I couldn't do it anymore. And I truly and genuinely love that person. And I had to cut them out of my life. And sometimes leveling up, it requires distancing yourself from people who only know the old version of you. And that's painful, but it's necessary. And finally, a huge reason you haven't won yet is because you keep underestimating how long success actually takes. You know, social media destroyed people's patience. Everybody expects immediate results now, immediate followers, immediate money, immediate transformation. Real success usually takes longer than people expect, which is why most quit too early. They mistake slow progress for failure, but slow progress is still progress. The person who keeps going eventually separates himself from everybody who stopped. And persistence is more powerful than most people realize. There are countless talented people who lost simply because they gave up during the ugly middle stage where results had not shown up yet. Winning belongs to people who survive long enough for their effort to compound. And that truth nobody wants to hear. Your breakthrough may not require a new strategy, it may require a longer mindset, better habits, more focus, more patience, and the willingness to continue when it's no longer exciting. And the gap where you want to be is usually filled with boring, repetitive discipline action most people refuse to do consistently. And that's why they never win. And maybe the hardest truth of all this is that nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to magically fix your life while you stay the same. And at some point, you either make changes or you keep repeating the cycles. You either build discipline or stay controlled by impulse. You either accept discomfort or stay trapped in comfort forever. And every day you delay the action, you reinforce the life you currently have. But every small discipline action also reinforces the person you're becoming. And that's good news. Your future is still adjustable. Your habits can change. Your mindset can improve. Your discipline can strengthen. But none of it happens accidentally. Winning is earned through consistency, sacrifice, focus, and persistence long after the excitement disappears. And most people stop when things get hard. Winners stop making excuses. That's the difference. Thanks for watching today's video. If you found value in today's video, all I ask is subscribe. YouTube says I got to have that subscription to be able to succeed here on YouTube. So if you just found value, please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.